Miss Brunch Cafes, this cozy potato pie brings that feeling home tonight. I start with a kilo of potatoes and run them across the coarse side of the grater. Steady pace, fingers tucked. The larger shreds make a crust that turns crisp on the outside and tender within. As the pile grows, I toss in a light pinch of salt and give it a quick stir. That little head start draws out excess moisture so the base bakes instead of steaming. Now I leave the bowl alone for 15 quiet minutes and set up the pan. A sheet of parchment goes into the baking dish like a fitted shirt. Press the corners flat so nothing buckles later. I drop in a couple tablespoons of soft butter and sweep it across the paper and up the sides. This is our insurance for golden edges and easy release. Back to the bowl. I gather the potato in both hands and squeeze hard over the sink until it feels lighter and the juice slows to drips. You can use a clean towel if you like. Wring, rotate, wring again. That squeeze is the whole secret to a crisp shell. Now I tip the shreds into the prepared dish and spread them evenly, working from the center out. Use the back of a spoon or a flat cup to pack the bottom tight. Then climb the sides to form a neat rim. Think of it as a potato tart case. Firm walls, smooth floor. If a spot looks thin, borrow from a thicker patch and tamp again. An even thickness means even browning. While I finish the edges, a small reminder for newcomers. Tap subscribe so our next cozy recipe finds you by itself. And since I'm always tuning these ideas to your taste, rate this one for me. Out of 10, what score would you give this concept? Drop your number in the comments. I read them all. The crust is shaped and ready to set. I melt a little butter until it turns glossy, then brush the crust, bottom first, up the sides last, so the edge is crisp instead of drying out. The tray slides onto the middle rack for a short solo bake. This locks the shape and gives us that crackly bite. While it sets, I crack one egg and slip the white into a small bowl. A quick whisk to soft peaks turns it into a natural sealer. The crust comes out golden at the tips. I paint a thin coat of the fluffy white across the surface and send it back in for a brief minute. The proteins set into a shield that keeps the base crisp even under a creamy filling. It is a tiny step, but it saves dinner from soggy bottoms. Quick pulse check while the oven hums. Are you cooking along or just planning dinner? Either way, make sure you are subscribed so the next recipe finds you. And before we move on, drop your score for this idea. 1 to 10, what score would you give this concept? Drop your number in the comments. I read them all. Now to the filling. 4 eggs go into a mixing bowl with a calm pinch of salt. I whisk in small circles until the surface smooths out and a ribbon falls back and disappears. In the next beat, we will wilt a handful of spinach, bring in sweet pepper ribbons, and finish the filling with a Mediterranean wink so the whole bake feels bright yet comforting. Cream follows in a gentle stream, turning the color pale and the texture silky. You can swap half and half or even light evaporated milk if that is what you have. I taste a drop, balanced and cozy. For the cheese, I reach for Feta first. I crumble and then run it over the coarse side so it scatters instead of clumping. Those soft, salty flecks will dot the custard and keep each bite lively. If Feta is strong for you, mix it with a little cottage cheese pressed through a sieve. You keep the creaminess without the punch. I fold the cheese into the egg mixture just until it looks marbled. I grate a little Parmesan on the fine side, think snow, not pebbles, and whisk it through so the custard turns glossy and gently savory. The cheeses should look like flecks and threads, not heavy lumps. That is what gives you a light slice that still tastes luxurious. If you avoid dairy, try a spoon of nutritional yeast and a splash of oat cream. Different road, same comfort. I give the bowl one calm stir and set it aside to breathe. Before we pour, a quick nudge. If you haven't already, tap subscribe so our next cozy dinner finds you on its own. And share this with a friend who loves cafe-style bakes. Back to the stove. A slick of olive oil warms in a skillet until it shimmers. Then in goes a handful of spinach. It slumps in seconds. I sweep it around the pan so the leaves turn a deep, friendly green without losing life. If the stems are thick, I dice them first and give them a 30-second head start. Tiny choices, better texture. I lift the spinach to a board, chop it into soft ribbons so you meet green in every bite, and fold it through the custard. The color pops and the feta wakes up even more. A quick family checkpoint. My husband calls this the cafe hour because the kitchen smells like brunch on a Sunday, and our beagle parks by my feet, hoping a crumb will declare independence. A red pepper joins the board for sweetness and crunch. I trim the top, clear the seeds, and shave tidy cubes so they toast quickly in a warm skillet with a breath of oil. If this recipe earns a spot in your weeknight rotation, hit subscribe so the next cozy dinner finds you, and share this with a friend who loves golden edges. Tell me below what you'd tweak: more spinach, fewer olives, a different cheese, and I'll test it for a future episode. Medium heat, short time. I want the edges bright and the center still juicy. A pinch of oregano and a dusting of dried garlic bloom in the pan, and the kitchen smells like a small cafe. My daughter always wanders in here to ask if she can steal one cube, and of course she can. I tip the pepper into the bowl and give everything a slow fold. Creamy custard, green ribbons, red sparks. Quick check on our crust. The walls are firm, the base sounds crisp when I tap it with a spoon. Perfect. I park the dish on a rack by the stove so it stays proud while we finish. My beagle parks by my feet like a tiny inspector on duty, and my son asks if olives count as vegetables. I tell him they count as flavor. Now I look at thickness. The custard should flow in a slow, steady ribbon, not sprint like milk. If it seems a touch loose, I whisk in a spoon of flour and wait 30 seconds for it to hydrate. Still soft? One more spoon, whisk, rest. Silky but obedient. Exactly what we want for neat slices. Taste again for seasoning. A small pinch of salt if your cheese is gentle, a quick twist of pepper if you like warmth. If dairy is light in your kitchen, a splash of oat cream keeps the mouthfeel kind without loading the mix. In the next beat, we will give the bowl one calm stir. Fill the golden shell and send it to the oven where the top sets glossy and the edges turn the prettiest shade of brown. One last stir and the custard looks silky, so I set the shell on a towel for grip and pour slowly from the center, letting it find the corners on its own. I guide with the back of a spoon so the olives, peppers, and spinach spread evenly, then tap the dish once to lift tiny bubbles. A light veil of flour over the surface steadies the top as it bakes and keeps the slice clean. If you worry about overflow, leave a fingertip of space along the rim. The custard will rise and settle like a calm tide. I slide the dish on the middle rack and close the door gently. The oven time is a window, not a rule. I start checking when the edges turn proud and the center wobbles like jelly, usually somewhere between the mid and late 20s. If your oven runs hot, tent with a loose sheet of foil so the crown stays pale gold, not deep brown. While we wait, I clear the board, rinse the whisk, and tidy the counter. Future you will be grateful when it's time to serve. When the timer sings, I nudge the pan, the center should ripple softly, and the edges will have pulled back a breath. Set it on a rack for a minute so the steam settles. This patience gives you tidy wedges. If you like a brighter finish, dust a pinch of oregano in your palm and let it fall between your fingers. The warmth will wake the aroma. Plate a slice, listen for that faint crackle from the potato walls, and smile. Thank you for spending time in my kitchen today. I'll see you soon with another simple, weeknight-friendly idea that tastes like it came from a little neighborhood cafe. Until then, keep your oven steady, your knife comfortable, and your dinner plans kind to your evening. Enjoy, friends.